This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Carville for some more team action. In the top right-hand corner as the Red Empire, it's GoDoFWar. Playing Empire instead of Allies, curiously enough. But that's the random draw. His teammate here in the middle as the purple is Geometryl. As our purple Soviets in the south, as our cyan Soviets, it's Libra. This is not the DDF Libra, it's the other Libra. In the bottom left-hand corner, as our blue Soviets, it's pewpewlazer. Now in the middle on the island, trapped. We'll have to see how they do. This, as the yellow empire, is ledauphin. Or ledauphin? I don't know. It sounds like a pharmaceutical. And their ally, our last player in the 6-player game, this is Pedro. Alright, normally the 2 players on the island, they cut off the bridges quickly so that they don't get pummeled by 2 teams at once. But we'll have to see. Sometimes the team on the island can kind of weasel their way out of difficult situations and make it out all right. In this case, we have a big infantry swell coming out from Libra. Again, this is not the DDF Libra. A long time ago on this game, I thought that he was, and I ended up calling him DDF the entire time. Bears coming on in from pewpewlazer, trying to get some kills on Pedro's stuff, but Pedro ends up cleaning up that bear. And for now, these conscripts are going to be able to clear out Geometryl's buildings and units, the buildings that he had captured. GoDoFWar, on the other hand, looks like he's spreading out pretty darn quickly. Going to be taking a 3rd refinery out here on the water, as well as this oil derrick here on land. So he did manage to steal an oil derrick from someone on the island. All of these conscripts getting locked down. They might come out of the shock before they... Never mind, there's too many bears. If there's just 1 or 2 bears, you might be able to get out in time, and this entire attack has pretty much been shut down. Geometryl did manage to grab that oil derrick right out of the bat, and this is a great spread from GoDoFWar. I mean, check out all of these buildings he's been able to capture. It doesn't really do anything in terms of killing your opponents, but it does allow you to have that bit of map presence and that bit of map awareness to know when attacks are coming your way. Also grabbed that oil derrick. Could I actually potentially grab all 3 oil derricks, which would definitely be worth it for him. His Imperial Warrior does survive. He needs to go ahead and hop inside of that building if he has any chance of surviving, and he's just going to die to that sentry gun. Not a big deal. ledauphin going to be taking this refinery here, also this refinery here, setting up a 4-refinery oil derrick economy. 1 bridge is down, the other one does still remain. In the south, these buildings have been taken over by Libra, but they're going to be getting cleared out, and he's even bothering to micro. I don't know that this is going to make the difference in a team game, in a 2v2v2, where, you know, you've got 3 teams. In a 1v1, sometimes the micro like that does matter, but most of the time, the game is going to be decided by bigger factors than a single guy there. Pewpewlazer with a twin blade dropping off some bears. That bear was supposed to roar, but he did not. This Tesla Trooper going to be able to get a couple of kills here. Flak Trooper gets the kill on a couple of these on these cores, and this attack is actually snowballing in a bit of a problematic way, and hey-oh, we've got ourselves some crates out on this field, so they probably won't make a big difference. These are not cool crates like existed in some of the previous Command & Conquer games. These are kind of the lame crates where it's like the best you can really get from them is, I think, veterancy or 1,000 credits, and of course you can get health as well. pewpewlazer taking a lot of damage from GoDoFWar over here on the left side of the map. His MCV should be able to escape at least 4 now, and actually this twin blade will be able to ensure that escape if they continue to chase. They actually did stop right there, so they could run down there and try and get a little bit more damage before the twin blade comes in to kill them all. GoDoFWar going to be harassing way down in the south at these refinery locations. Will get the kill on potentially 1 of these harvesters, but they both have activated their reactive armor and are going to be able to survive for a little bit longer. Pedro and ledauphin on this map, on this island, now completely cut off as the 2nd bridge has been eliminated. The Tengu going for the kill here. He will barely get it, I think. And no, he does transform away, but that is the lowest health you could pretty much possibly have on an ore collector. It doesn't even show up on the interface. As the Tengus show up to clear the sky for the twin blades, they all get eliminated. Walls going down there to kind of slow down our Empire infantry, and pewpewlazer is going to be losing that MiG. Now, one thing that we didn't point out, some of these guys might be smurfing, but right out of the gate, GoDoFWar is, in this game, the best 1v1 player. of this group as far as I know. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything in a team games sense. Sometimes the best 1v1 player, as we've seen happen to Damon a number of times in these team games, where Damon is literally targeted down because he is the best 1v1 player, and you end up in the situation where the best 1v1 player ends up losing out kind of early on, and then the other players just continue on without it. Suiciding of that hammer tank to kill the terror drone, always a nice move, because the hammer tank is going to die anyway, so you might as well get it that way. Pewpewlazer is starting to push back GoDoFWar over here on the left side of the map. Hammer tank's going to be coming in from Geometryl. Going to be able to clean up those couple of conscripts, but Libra doesn't seem to be able to be making too much headway. He seems to be having a lot of trouble between all of the stuff that's going on. I don't know if he's actually going to be able to pull anything out of this game. Maybe he can power up and make a comeback. A lot of Tengus showing up here for GoDoFWar, and he's normally an allied player, but in this case, he knows how to build Tengus, so he knows how to spam those Tengus out. One oil derrick did get reclaimed by our Soviet player, and GoDoFWar directly into the psionic decimator here in the north side of the map. Is going to be a little bit of time before that thing actually counts down to 0. Everybody giving each other a little bit of space. Tesla coil and a flak cannon going down, as well as a reactor, so this is going to be a fairly defended area with the flak cannon, the Tesla coil, and the buildings blocking off those defensive structures. It's going to be tough to break this little area. Of course, it can be done, but we'll have to see what they manage to do. Twin Blade from Libra picks off a terror drone there, and maybe something else as well that terror drone surprised into a terror drone. Shogun battleships now out on the map for GoDoFWar, and the artillery advantage. We talk about it a lot. Ledauphin also has a decent number of Tengus. Are there a couple of Sea-Wings? A couple of Sea-Wings could really change the tide of a Tengu v Tengu battle. Single Imperial Warrior does go down. Tengu's coming out in mass, as well as a Twin Blade. They get a full surround on this Shogun battleship, and goodbye, Shogun battleship. He's going to try and save it. He needs to kill the Twin Blade before transforming, or even leave a couple of these Tengus overhead. And I guess he's just waiting. No, he's not going to wait for the transform, which means there might be an ability for Ledauphin to be able to escape. Here's going to be satellites or something raining down upon GoDoFWar's stuff. And I think it is going to be satellites, but I think they are going to miss. No, it's actually going to be toxins, which will miss even more, as the Shogun battleship does end up going down. A second one is out on the field, and all of those Tengus pretty much do get eliminated. A couple of them try to fly away, and most of them do go down. One barely escapes to the Crusher Crane for repairs. Sickle from Libra going to be harassing Geometryl a little bit over here on the right side of the map, and Geometryl and GoDoFWar, if they joined forces, they could probably kill Libra in this game. And Libra doesn't have a whole lot, but the combination of GoDoFWar and Geometryl, I think, could kill him pretty darn easily. One Tengu for Ledauphin does go down there, and now he's also going to be losing this refinery, loses the Defender Core, loses the Harvester and the refinery, as they get targeted down by so many Tengus. Shogun battleship, can he go for the kill? No, he wasn't actually able to go for the crush there, and that is a Tier 3 naval yard down the drain. Another refinery, another naval yard on the way, where the cores have already been produced by GoDoFWar. The Yari mini-subs escape for now. GoDoFWar really does need to get some repairs before he does too much more with those Tengus. Geometryl loses the oil derrick, as it is struck down by Libra. And the Harvester gets the kill on the Engineer, gets the kill on the Bear, as GoDoFWar is forced to sell off that refinery. Good thing he just produced an additional refinery core, and he can send that one up there. Although he has also reproduced this refinery here out on the water. Still lots of... Oh, actually, no, this is the first time taking that refinery. Still full of credits. This is going to be a tough place for just Tengus to break, and this is a lot of Tengu damage being taken by GoDoFWar. He does manage to grab the MiG, so he gets a little bit of value for those Tengus. And that's the thing about a Tengu army, is it can expire very quickly. Pedro, what are you doing over here with just this one building? Oh, the Psionic Decimator, something happened to it. I did miss that. But I guess it is gone at this point. Geometryl starting to build up his hammer tank army, could be ready to strike out against Libra at some point. pewpewlazer has reinvented himself over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, and units flying all over the place. A couple of... Oh, the engineer goes down. The one thing that he actually needed, he's going to try and take down this oil derrick. And actually the Shogun battleship almost doing more harm than good in this case, as they actually target down their own oil derrick. And goodbye oil derrick, as the flak trooper also goes down. 2 Yari mini-subs against a lot of Yari mini-subs. And that is not going to work out very well for God of War. Hammer tanks for pewpewlazer now going to be showing up. God of War kind of stretched thin, trying to defend himself on multiple fronts, is finding himself unable to defend on multiple fronts very well. Bullfrog getting a couple of shots off there at the Tengus that are still in the air. The rest of the Tengus do show up with these chopper VXs as well. The Tengus deal with the Bullfrog very nicely so that the choppers can deal with the hammer tanks very well. And one more Bullfrog is here to try and chase away these chopper VXs, but they're going to be chasing down the MCV, and they may actually get it. We'll have to see if they're actually able to finish off that MCV, or if pewpewlazer is able to save it. 3 chopper VXs do a lot of damage, but the Bullfrog is being protected by this MCV, and the Bullfrogs do have pretty good range against aircraft. And this MCV is taking a lot of damage. It's probably going to be going down here to the combined forces of just God of War. pewpewlazer without an MCV is going to be a little bit hard-pressed to do too many crazy things. I believe he has a crane somewhere out on the map. I assume he has a crane, and he does have a war factory, so he can rebuild this stuff if he needs to. He also does have a naval yard, so he's pretty well set. His crane is over there, hanging out next to his buddy's crane, and he could actually end up losing this crane to Geometryl. We'll have to see if he's actually able to do anything, and the MCV gets capped! God of War losing his MCV, losing his Tier 3. He's still got his naval yard, so he can rebuild, he can remake. He's also got his war factory over here, still cranking stuff out. And this is great from Pedro. Pedro, with, I'm guessing, Twin Blade Engineer combos, has been able to completely hamstring God of War. And God of War going to be trying to stand strong against the Yari mini-sub forces of ledauphin. But ledauphin has lost almost everything in that attempt to take down everything of God of War. He is going to try and finish off this one naval yard before the Emperor's Rage dissipates. And it's going to be a Yari mini-sub, so Yari mini-sub versus Yari mini-sub. God of War will be able to take down his opponent's Yari mini-sub, but he's going to be losing a Harvester to this Akula sub of pewpewlazer. Once again, the civilian structure being a little bit annoying for God of War. God of War, I think, needs to focus on defense. He has been a little bit hard-pressed to be aggressive everywhere on the map, and it's just not working out for him. Geometryl having to push back Libra here in the south, and our team in the middle, they've kind of been going untalked about very much, but they've been slowly teching up. ledauphin has been rebuilding his Tengu army. He lost it much earlier in this game, but it's pretty much back up and running now. MiGs getting off into the air. They're going to be able to clean up these Tengus pretty quickly with the help of those flak cannons if the Tengus are forced to take off, and that airfield survives with just a smidge of health. Satellites from Geometryl going to be getting called down upon it. And depending on which satellites these are, it may actually not kill it. Yes, it does manage to kill it. Cleans up the reactor as well. And actually, those Tengus should actually stick around to get the kill on those buildings and finish everything else off. God of War has been pushed very far back, having to sell off his naval yard. Once again, engineers causing so much havoc for him, even out on the water. And the Akula sub showing up for pewpewlazer is going to kill that engineer. Completely wastes him as just about the overkill of the year. And again, God of War kind of falling apart as he's trying to manage all fronts. He's not quite managing any of them as well as he normally would. Also, sneaky Pedro with all of these engineers doing a great job. Oh, Geometryl losing all of his anti-air. And just the twin blades of Libra are going to totally shred Geometryl. Libra also has V4s and Bullfrogs. But this Twin Frog combo, it is a powerful thing. This one Bullfrog is not going to be enough. I don't even think he got the kill on one Twin Blade, and that is going to pretty much be it for Geometryl. Unfortunately for him, he just does not have the forces. I don't know why he doesn't have the forces. He certainly had enough time, and earlier in the game, he had enough cash. He had 3 or 4 refineries. He had an oil derrick. And, I mean, he's got a bunch of hammer tanks, but he just didn't build MiGs or Bullfrogs to support them. And maybe he kind of forgot that hammer tanks can't shoot up and your opponent is allowed to build stuff that flies, that shoots down. But at any rate, Libra has completely hamstrung Geometryl, and God of War has been, at one point, was at the height of the game perhaps, and has been beaten back into the middle section. And the middle of this island, they have done a good job of cutting themselves off from the world, kind of isolationist style, and then just pushing everyone else back and slowly but surely taking ground. Now, the Shogun battleship may actually be able to make it all the way back here to the naval yard to get some repairs before... Oh, it's actually being slowed down by the Emperor's Rage. Another Twin Blade, or another Terror Drone, is going to be showing up here. And I don't know what his plan is, but Twin Blades do get pushed back by the Tengus in the sky. Bullfrogs also are here to push back the Tengus as they are looking for some kind of an opportunity. And this Shogun battleship is going to die for no good reason. Sea Wings show up to clean up the Twin Blades, but they're a little bit too slow on the uptake to be able to get the kill on those Twin Blades. I'm guessing the MCV got rebuilt at some point, although he could just be rolling with no support powers. It is a dangerous game to play with no support powers, but if you do want to do it, you can roll with no MCV, just the crane to survive. Libra and pewpewlazer, they have become very resilient in this game. Chopper VX is transforming to strikers and getting a kill on a couple of those Tengus there, but it's almost like not even worth it at this point. Geometryl has been beaten on every front, and just not a very good performance from Geometryl. If God of War had been teamed up with maybe pewpewlazer or Libra, things might have been a little bit different, but Geometryl has really fallen apart in the last couple of minutes, and God of War hasn't been doing so hot either. So, together as a team, one is having a hard time carrying the other, and the other is not supporting the one as he should. So, although APOC tanks could definitely change that. Geometryl up to that tier 3, and a couple of APOC tanks, well supported and well surrounded, can be a powerful army. Now, one thing is, if we have a couple of Twin Blades, or a couple of Terror Drones from Libra, then that APOC tank may not be as effective as he would like it to be. And the fact is, there are some things that can lock down APOC tanks, and of course V4s can hit them from afar. Tesla Coil going to be getting a couple of shots off here, going to be trying to take out some of these Tengus, and this could be kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. As these Tengus look for an escape from the Twin Blades, they may find themselves into the waiting arms of Geometryl, but no, Geometryl doesn't actually manage to attack them. The Bullfrogs are not in position when the Tengus go for the transform, so they do escape, at least for now. God of War in the north rebuilding his infantry army after having been at the Shogun battleship level. He's trying to reestablish his economy, although he has held on to these 2 refineries here in the top right-hand corner. They're almost depleted. Only 4 grand left in each of them. APOC tanks, and it's going to be up to these tank busters to control well and to go for the kill on this APOC tank. Of course, the rear armor will do a bit more damage for these laser weapons. But that's a fully heroic conscript, and that APOC tank does go down. There's the transform of the strikers. They get the kill on the MiGs as well, and finally that conscript does go down. Here in the bottom left-hand corner with Emperor's Rage, this tank buster surprise cuts through that super reactor, but not enough to take it down. Pedro and ledauphin going to be making a huge assault on our team in the bottom left-hand corner into low power mode, and they're going to be going for the super reactor as well, which I think is going to blow them backwards about halfway across the map, forcing the sell-off there so it doesn't damage all of the stuff around it. The barracks is trying to be established, but can they actually save this? Libra with the Twin Blades is going to be able to clean up the flak troopers. They're not actually attacking, they're moving, and they do pretty much all get cleaned up. The bear does get eliminated. They're fried completely by those Tesla troopers, and this has been a hefty infrastructure blow dealt to our team in the bottom left-hand corner. These Imperial Warriors and these tank busters need to deal with those conscripts desperately there and clean them up before they clean up those strikers. Now in the bottom left-hand corner, oh, it was actually the bridge repair. I was wondering how he got all those infantry over there. I assumed it was like 4 or 5 Twin Blades loaded up with stuff, dropping them all off, but no, it was the bridge repair for Pedro to get his infantry army to the other landmass. God of War cutting a nice path through the infrastructure of pewpewlazer. pewpewlazer building walls around his production facilities to try and give him a better shot at survival. pewpewlazer and Libra putting a lot of infrastructure here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, now in low power mode, trying to recover from that. Unpacking his MCV, his Tesla coil still offline, having to build just a normal reactor to try and get out of that low power mode quickly. Pedro showing up with a couple of twin blades, going to be trying to target down. Although these MiGs are showing up, they're a little bit too little too late. Tengu's now going to be showing up for ledauphin, and this Tengu Twin Blade army, this is a powerful combination. The Twin Blades really have to kill the Bullfrog, though, as the Tengus are going to be forced to transform to deal with the Bullfrog themselves and the Sickles as well, while the Twin Blades do indeed deal with that refinery. Point defense drones firing off on all of these Tengus, and there is a flak cannon mixed in here as well, so again, this is going to be a difficult position to break, but guess what? You can just kill the war factory, kill the production facilities, and then get on out of there. You don't actually have to kill absolutely everything that is there. And actually, the balloon bombs are kind of absorbing some of the damage from this flak cannon, so the flak cannon may actually be dealt with quite easily there. And the second flak cannon is being constructed. Pedro is going to be able to deal with that. Geometryl has been defeated over on the right side of the map, going to be getting pushed by Libra. And that leaves GoDoFWar into a difficult situation, being a one-person team in a 2v2v2. Unfortunately for him, he now has no teammate. Refinery does go down. Pedro able to strike again a blow against pewpewlazer and against Libra, but Libra is actually doing okay now that he's kind of repositioned himself here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. He's rebuilt a lot of his infrastructure. He's no longer in low power mode, which is good for him. He's got a super reactor or two somewhere around this map. I guess he's just got the one there. The other one is indeed pewpewlazers. They've kind of done the same thing where they've just rebuilt a lot of their key infrastructure in the bottom right-hand corner of the map instead of the bottom left-hand corner of the map. GoDoFWar managing to retake this oil derrick here in the top left-hand corner, and that is going to be a nice little boost to his income. It's not a big boost considering that he's on 4 refineries. These Bullfrogs getting a lot of free damage. Libra with an absolute slaughter of these Tengus. That is a war crime, how much damage they just did. Libra turns around with his twin blades, and he only has 4 of them in the sky. It looks like 2 of them are fully heroic, but Sea Wings do show up for ledauphin, and he's going to try and chase away these twin blades. 4 twin blades do escape. The 5th did get eliminated, and there are a couple more hanging out next to this crusher crane. We're in that awkward situation that often happens in team games where there is not a clear victor for these players. There is not a clear path to victory for them. Pedro over here going to be with an APOC tank. How did he get that over there? I don't know if he lifted it or if he drove it all the way and then all the way up there. But at any rate, it is now dead. So that APOC tank, you know, it was relatively short-lived. It did some damage, but not enough. Ooh, these Sea Wings. Great unit is the Sea Wing. Cleans up a twin blade or 2. But ledauphin now going to be able to clean up these twin blades. No, just kidding. It's a trap as he transforms on top of all of these bullfrogs. And the couple of twin blades going to be able to target down these Tengus. A lot of these Tengus are double vet or fully heroic status. 4 of them fully heroic. And, of course, point defense drones are going to allow them to survive a good while longer. A couple of bullfrogs are also veteran or heroic status. Pewpewlazer going to be taking a bit of damage on this harvester and this refinery. But, again, Libra is doing a good job. We see so many players in team games, especially in like 2v2s on Carville. They try and do this twin frog combo, and they are so much worse at it than Libra. Like, twin MiG does make a lot of sense, but, you know, twin blades and MiGs are produced by the same production structure, so if you want to build them quickly, you can't build them at the same time, and then, of course, you have to build more and more airfields if you want 8 or 12 MiGs. To be able to actually provide a decent amount of Air Force. And it is something you can do, but Twin Frog is a little more, I think, economical. And, ooh, GoDoFWar up here in the top right-hand corner dealing with the APOC tanks again. You just show up with a couple of APOC tanks and no support. This is what happens. They're not actually good by themselves. They can't just crush everything. And this isn't Red Alert 2. You can't just make a couple of APOC tanks and walk over everything, which was honestly my favorite thing to do. GoDoFWar has rebuilt himself, reinvented himself almost from nothing. He's back up to this 6 refinery oil derrick economy that he was at before, and he is just churning away at it. He's about to run out of cash, though. He's got 15,000 credits there, so still a decent amount of income left in all of these combined, but I think these two are depleted. Yeah, they were at 4,000 a while ago, so they are definitely depleted. He has picked up a couple of money crates, which, you know, always helps, but 1,000 credits here and 1,000 credits there is kind of a laughable amount of money when you check out how much these guys have been using over the course of this game. I think that was a war factory that probably got canceled there. Not exactly sure what happened. This is like the base of base defenses, 4,000, 2,500. So yeah, this is going to be difficult as these players have these decent-sized armies, but as we go on in this game, they're not necessarily going to be able to replenish these armies. And trying to wait out your opponents and wait for them to battle it out. Oh my gosh, they didn't actually kill these Sea Wings. That heroic Sea Wing actually survived that engagement. He killed a couple of those Twin Blades, and he survived that engagement. There are definite weaknesses for these players to take advantage of. This MCV is going to get dived on, and it does take a big chunk of damage, but you have to be careful. Libra going to be losing a couple of these Twin Blades with to those Tengus and also to these Sea Wings way down there. But the Tengus now going to be transforming to deal with the Bullfrogs. And are there actually enough Twin Blades left over? I think the answer is yes, but they're shooting buildings for some reason instead of targeting down the Tengus, which are really the thing stopping Libra from just killing off ledauphin in this game. Twin Blade's going to be able to turn their attention to our green Soviet player, Pedro, who hasn't been able to make any big strikeouts on the map in the last couple of minutes. He's tried a couple of things, but they haven't gone particularly well. A couple of Bullfrogs going to be getting cleaned up here by the Twin Blades. And the Twin Blades also going to be able to clean up a couple of tank busters as well. Bullfrogs clean up the Tengus, and that Tengu, as they fall to the ground, they actually do die. Sell-off of the War Factory and the Tier 3 and a power plant and moving the MCV because a giant satellite is about to drop down on this power plant. Also probably going to clean up both of these Defender VX cores, so goodbye Defender VXs. They do go down, and that just makes this base that much easier to crack. I think some support powers also used maybe over here on the left side of the map. No, it's actually going to be a Shogun battleship or two firing from the low ground, from the water. Twin Blades up here flying around for Libra. I think our team on the island has all but been defeated. They've given it a good run, but I think it's going to be GoDoFWar, Libra, and pewpewlazer. GoDoFWar is definitely the best like single player in this game in terms of like he is the single player with the biggest army, the most economy, all of that kind of stuff, but he can't necessarily beat Libra and pewpewlazer combined. The power of 2 is often better than the power of 1, but we'll have to see what he is able to make happen here. He's got a lot of Tengus, he's got strikers, he's got just a decent amount of units in general. But that can be defeated, that can be pulled apart, especially if there's attacks on multiple fronts. Libra repositioning his MCV, trying to take these expansions. There's actually, wow, almost 40,000, yeah, 41,000 credits between those two refinery nodes, between those two ore nodes, rather. So that's actually a lot of cash for Libra to make use of, and Libra taking over the depleted or almost depleted ore nodes of Geometryl from all the long while that he was in here. GoDoFWar calling in his own Tank Buster Surprise to help him break this base, and he has finally completely defeated this, although both of those ore mines are completely depleted. And this is generally why people don't get Magnetic Satellite. Every once in a while, someone leaves a comment and they say, why don't people use Magnetic Satellite? And it's like, oh, because you almost never get anything with it. It's funny, in the campaign, it's like the original balance of the Magnetic Satellite. Actually, in the beta, so the Magnetic Satellite in the campaign is quite quick. You can move around with it, you can catch units, and also the AI is just worse at avoiding it than human players. But in the beta, I don't know if it was Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 can only pick up Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Because, like, in the game, you know, if you have a Tier 1 satellite, it can't pick up Tier 3 units. All of the big units can't be grabbed by it. It has to grab stuff of the same level, which, you know, makes a lot of sense from a balance point of view. But I think in the beta it may not have even been that way. I think it was just like the length of time, or maybe how big of an area it was. And so it's like you could pick up, I think, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think you could pick up like, you know, APOC tanks with Tier 1 or something. And it was just a really small circle. A little bit of cash on the ground. Ooh, these Twin Blades not actually going down as that Striker gets eliminated. and pewpewlazer is trying to find some kind of damage. He's going to lose all of those twin blades, and then there's the big transform of the Tengus. The MiGs show up too little, too late. There are no strikers on the ground to clean up the MiGs, though. As the strikers now arrive, they show up, they get constructed, and they are going to completely waste this air army. Look at this, 2 MiGs escape. What a terrible move here by pewpewlazer. He really overestimated what he was going to be able to get done with that army against GoDoFWar. GoDoFWar now going to be able to take the entire top half of the map, and by top half, I really do mean top quarter of the map. He's got the top edge pretty much all the way across, and he hunts down those last 2 MiGs, and he gets the kills on them. Akulasubs now going to be turning their attention from pewpewlazer, or Akulasubs from pewpewlazer now going to be turning their attention to GoDoFWar. Ledauphin has been defeated. Our player in the middle of the map, our yellow player, has been defeated. It is just down to Pedro. And GoDoFWar, of course, they're both singles in this team game. Our only team left is pewpewlazer and Libra. And again, you always got to give the advantage to 2 players against 1. It doesn't always work. Sometimes a player does 1v2. But you always got to give the advantage to the 2 players. Like, it's just easier when you've got 2 people doing 2 different things to make stuff happen. Bullfrog's getting targeted down, but Libra not actually doing a very good job of targeting down all of the Bullfrogs, giving heroic status to that Bullfrog before finally turning his attention to clean up that war factory. And the barracks, I assume, is next as flak troopers are being produced by it. All right, GoDoFWar, the air army of Libra has almost been annihilated. He made a couple of mistakes there. Mistakes were certainly made, and he took a lot of damage. And, okay, no, that wasn't it. I was going to say, there we go, but there's a refinery up here. There may actually be a couple more buildings scattered around the map, but no, it looks like this is just it. Pedro has this one refinery. He's going to slowly eat away more and more of this income, and then it'll just basically disappear from the map. It's like his stock crashed or something, but, it's just gone, man. You had money yesterday, but today it's all gone. GoDoFWar turns his attention south as he moves in with a huge striker Tengu army. There actually might be as many strikers as there are Tengus, which is just a lot of cash in general. And actually, wow, those missiles from the strikers, they like changed targets at the last time. I don't know if he had it queued up, and so the missiles, when they're queued up, turn immediately, even though they're like kind of out of range. There's the big transform of the Tengus. They're going to push in here. They don't catch the Bullfrogs, so this is where things potentially get problematic. If you can't catch the Bullfrogs with your Tengus, but there's the transform of the Strikers. Now they're going to be vulnerable to the Hammer Tanks, and there's nothing to deal with the Hammer Tanks. There's the magnetic satellite directly on top of this army. There's the X key to split the army, and he's actually going to get a couple of more Twin Blade kills as well. He's going to lose some of them to these Hammer Tanks, but the transform timer is almost down, and there we go. The Hammer Tanks pretty much all get eliminated, but the escape route is now available. It is now open for GoDoFWar to get on out of there. Somehow Pedro is still in this game. I think pewpewlazer, who dropped it, no, beacon was dropped by Libra. I don't know if he was beaconing this refinery here, like, hey, go over here and kill this, and we won't have to deal with this last guy, and then it'll be 2v1 properly instead of 2v1v1. And GoDoFWar showing up to defend Pedro's refinery, and actually pewpewlazer is going to get the kill on his own stuff to get a little bit more health for this hammer tank, and also to kill that terror drone so that the hammer tank does not give away the terror drone at the end. There we go. Pedro has been defeated. Our green and yellow team is the first one to go down, which, you know, kind of sticks with the idea that you shouldn't have 2 players on the island. It tends to go poorly for them, but oh, those V4s, they did some good damage, but they are now gone. Satellites getting called down onto the middle of this army, and 2 sets of satellites. Oh no, it's a satellite and a Desolator airstrike, as these Wave Force artillery are going to get eliminated by that satellite. GoDoFWar's army, oh, double satellite. It was double satellite. That is kind of a waste of support powers. The first satellite is probably all you need. Tsunami tanks and tank busters making quick work of Libra's army. GoDoFWar, he needs to kind of just commit to this A move one way or the other. He's getting kind of picked apart by all of these forces of Libra, by Tesla coils, by hammer tanks, by bears, and by whatever's produced out of this barracks. And this is just going not as well. This is not as clean of an attack as you would want to see from someone like GoDoFWar. GoDoFWar also going to be losing over here on the left side of the map to a Tesla coil base push from pewpewlazer, and this super reactor is probably going to go down. He may actually be forced to sell it off. And, yeah, he actually does sell it off. pewpewlazer gets rid of that, which sends him into low power mode. He has already forced the sell-off of both of these refineries here on the left side of the map. So GoDoFWar, this is what I'm talking about. He's starting to get pushed back here and there. Libra and pewpewlazer are going to be taking the middle of the map. Of course, these are depleted, but it still does provide that little bit of extra income. And 2v1, it is difficult for the player in the one situation. Refineries are going down. GoDoFWar is going to kind of make his way around the map, trying to kill everything that pewpewlazer and Libra have. And he's got 4 King Onis, so he does have a lot of muscle, or 6 King Onis. He does have a lot of muscle, but, I mean, leaving some of these buildings alive gives you your opponents the opportunity to rebuild when you've got that sneaky, sneaky build radius as a Soviet player. You can rebuild with anything that gives you radius, so... More super reactors may be forced to sell off as this Wave Force Artillery, heroic though it may be, is going to get targeted down by this conscript. I don't actually know what wins out. Wave Force Artillery, heroic status, or conscript. It looks like the conscript will eventually kill that Wave Force Artillery, which is going to eventually kill this super reactor. No. He left. Goodbye. I'm out of here. That is a Tier 3 magnetic satellite, but it's not catching anything. It's picking up dirt. I guess, is that supposed to simulate, like, the minerals or, like, iron that's in the dirt? I don't know what that is, but obviously, like, dirt's not magnetic, so that wouldn't make any sense. This one conscript trying to chase down everything that the Empire player has. Twin Blade goes down. V4s hanging out inside of these walls. They are protected at least for now. And the flak cannon is able to deal with some of those balloon bombs. I don't know where GoDoFWar is going. Oh, he's trying to escape to the land in the center. He's going to lose to 4 bullfrogs. This is a lot of damage to these choppers, and that's the thing about bullfrogs is they have such incredible range against air. They can just fly away and kind of kite air units. Oh, man, this is not good. He grabbed the war factory. He's producing his own King Onis. pewpewlazer with the sneaky twin blade comeback. This happened twice to GoDoFWar. The guy can't catch a break when it comes to engineers in his base, and now he's going to be most likely losing his MCV, or at the very least forcing it to pack up, and he's going to be losing it in that sense. Airfield going down, other airfield getting targeted down by that Wave Force Artillery, but this is going to be it for GoDoFWar. I don't think he's going to be able to survive base-wise for very much longer. 1,000 credits gets picked up there by pewpewlazer. And this, I think, is going to have to be it. At the end of the day, GoDoFWar's units can pretty much be danced around. So unless he has an actual way to end this game, then Libra and pewpewlazer will just keep moving away from his units. Although GoDoFWar starting to spread out Tengus, just harassing all over the place, and it's like, that's not a big deal, 1 Tengu here, 1 Tengu there, but a Tengu harass in multiple places that then, if you queue the Tengu up to kill the refinery and all of the stuff around it, then that can actually do a lot of damage over time. This one twin blade completely unanswered until this Tengu shows up, but the bullfrogs do have a bead on that Tengu, and they kill it as tries to kill that twin blade, but is unable to. The forces of GoDoFWar have been slowed considerably. Not stopped, but slowed considerably. And now he has to try and do this awkward dance as he chases down almost every single structure that his opponents have spread all over the map. And he's very possibly could get trapped on this island. If this bridge goes down, he literally can't get these units off of this island if he doesn't have a barracks to build an engineer, which at this point I don't think he actually does have a barracks. He does have a war factory and he does have an MCV, but he doesn't have an engineer. Triple Desolator airstrike dropping toxins all over the place, and Satellite is going to finish up that war factory. This MCV is also not long for this world as satellites rain down upon these ore refineries just to the north of that satellite, or of that MCV. GoDoFWar has been defeated, and I think that's a sudden transport MCV there for not for GoDoFWar, but for pewpewlazer. as that will do it for this 2v2v2. A lot of fun action in this one. A slow start and then a pretty hectic back and forth between all of these players. And a very good 1v2 by GoDoFWar. He certainly put up a heck of a fight, but he was spread way too thin for much of that game. But he did an impressive job of holding on. 250,000 credits almost collected there by GoDoFWar. Number 2 was 20,000 credits behind pewpewlazer, and probably a good chunk of that was, in the last couple of minutes of the game where GoDoFWar kind of flatlined and pewpewlazer was able to pick up the slack. pewpewlazer and Libra, the victorious team in this Carville game. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.